I was driving around and I found this gorgeous pond. Can you see this? You can almost tell that's all water right there with the reeds sticking up. As I got out and as I came over to this pond, all these frogs went bloop, 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 and all these frogs are in here. This is a lovely pond, I guess, for frogs. They seem to be all through it. We might even see one or two pop their heads up as I'm talking. It's covered with a kind of green mossy algae, and it's got dragonflies. I can see different types of different kinds of dragonflies. So it's a perfect environment for frogs. You can see that they love this place, and they've evidently invited me to come and speak here. That's why they're all sitting there. You can see, if you look carefully, I see the little eyes bobbing up, just making sure that I'm saying the right thing. Now, what I want to do is talk about and end off, as I introduced it in the last episode, with this book here, the Arabic Qur'an. The interpretation of the meaning of the Noble Qur'an is what they claim it, because they believe, the Muslims, that is, those of you who are watching, they believe that only this part here is the Qur'an. This part here, the Arabic part of the Quran. That's the only true part of the Quran. The rest is all nothing more than the interpretation of the meaning. And the Quran itself makes the claim that it's an Arab book for the Arab people. In fact, in chapter 41, I'm going to open it up to 41, ayah 41. Surah 41, ayah 41, and also ayah 44. I'm not going to do ayah 41. I'm going to go right to ayah 44. It says this: "And if we had sent this as a Quran in a foreign language, other than Arabic, they would have said, why are not its verses explained in detail in our language?" What? Not in Arabic? And the messenger, an Arab? So it's very clear in chapter 41, verse 44, that this must be a book that was given to an Arab prophet, an Arab messenger, in the Arab language. That's repeated in Surah 12, Ayah 2, and it's also repeated in Surah 13, Ayah 37. So in 3 different places you will find that this book must be in Arabic for the Arabic people, given by an Arab prophet. And I've said this many times, it's fascinating to me, because when we look at the Bible, though it was written in Hebrew by Moses and all the others, and it would have been written in Greek for the New Testament, though it was written in those languages, we don't read it in those languages. We don't need to read it in those languages, because the Bible, as I said in the previous episode, it can be read in every language to everyone, everywhere, at any time, and in any place. That's the beauty of the Bible. It really is a universal book for everyone. This seems to be only a book for the Arabs. Only a book for the Arabs. And in the Arabic language. Now it's fascinating to me, because though it is in the Arabic languages for the Arabs, there are quite a few parts of the Quran that are written and use other languages. In fact, Dr. Arthur Jeffries in the 1930s did a study on this, and he found that he found almost his book called Foreign Vocabulary of the Quran. So he wrote a book just on this study, and it says that it's 300 pages of over 100 non-Arabic words that he found, and he categorized them into 9 different languages. Fascinating. I'm just going to share some of these with you, because it's obvious when you look at Dr. Jeffries in the 1930s. So it's almost been around almost 80 years. This book has been around over 80 years, in fact, and yet Muslims still will not admit that this book, the Arabic book, actually is in many languages. Let me just give you some examples. Take Egyptian words that he found. The name Pharaoh, which is a king or potentate, that's repeated 84 times in the Quran. Akkadian words, that's from northern Iraq. Words such as Adam and the word Eden, 24 times you find them in the Quran. Now, what's fascinating is there's an Arab equivalent to these words. They could have used an Arab equivalent. For Adam, the word would have been basharan, or insan. For the word Eden, because that's what Adam means, mankind. For Eden, the Arab equivalent would have been Jannah, which is the word for garden. They didn't use the Arabic words. Why didn't they use those Arabic words? Well, it seems obvious the reason why they didn't is because these are all borrowed stories. And we'll see that as you continue on. So we have Egyptian words, we have Akkadian words. What about Assyrian words? He talks about Assyrian words. The word Abraham, sometimes recorded as Ibrahim. The Arab equivalent would be Abrahim. But that's not what's written in the Arabic. You would have thought it would have been. And there's lots of Persian words, which now makes sense because the Persian area is where the Quran was mostly written. It came out of the Persian area. And when you look at some of the words that it's borrowed, the word like Harut and Marut are Persian names for angels. The word Sirat, that's that bridge, that pathway, the path that goes from earth over into paradise. The Arab equivalent would have been Al-Tariq. So why didn't the Quran use Al-Tariq, which is the same word, the equivalent in Arabic? The name Hur, which means disciple, has an Arab equivalent, Tilmith. The word Jinn, meaning good or evil demons, has the Arab equivalent Ruh. And then also Firdaus, meaning the highest or seventh heaven, has the Arab equivalent Jannah. So you can see in every one of these cases there was an alternative. They could have used their own Arab word. The reason, hold on. Let's don't talk about the reason right yet. Let's go ahead and look at some other examples. So a fifth example of a fifth language is Syriac. Tabut, Taguth, Zakat, that's the tithe. Malakut are all Syriac words which have been incorporated into the supposedly Arabic Quran. Hebrew words, look at these. Heber, Sakana, Ma'un, Taurat, the word we use for Torah, Jahanim, and Tufan. The deluge are all Hebrew words that have been borrowed and brought in to the supposedly Arabic Quran. Greek words such as Injil or the Gospel has an Arabic equivalent, could bishara. So why didn't the authors of the Quran use that word, the Arabic word, since it existed? Iblis is not even Arabic, but a corruption of the Greek word diabolos. So it's a corruption of that word itself. Christian Aramaic is another language that Arthur Jeffrey talks about. Kiyama is the Aramaic word for resurrection. We end number 9 with the Christian Ethiopic word malak in chapter 2, verse 33 of the Quran, which is the Ethiopic word for angel. Now, when you stop and ask and say, scratch your head on this and say, well, if this is an Arabic Quran for the Arabic people brought to an Arab in the Arabic language, then why in the world has it all these other words? 9 different languages, not just one, over 100 of these. I've just given you a smattering just to give you an idea of what we have. Many of them have Arab equivalents they could have used. There are words that existed in Arabic that they could have used instead. Why did they not use it? Well, the answer is very simple, and we're going to get into it later on, and that is almost every one of these stories about the Sirat Bridge, about the angels, about Abraham, about the Eden and Adam, and all these have been borrowed from other sources. And when you borrow the story, you also borrow the word. This is really true of the name Isa, the name for Jesus, is not even an Arabic word. That doesn't exist in Arabic. The name in Arabic is Yeshua. So why didn't the Quran use Yeshua instead of Isa? Well, Isa is borrowed from Syriac, Christian Syriac. Interestingly, though, a heretical Christian Syriac. It's not the Jesus that I know. And the Jesus, the Syriac Jesus, is a heretical Jesus. He does not claim to be God. He never dies on the cross. And the same Isa is found in the Quran. So you can see how in borrowing the word, they also borrow the story, or the other way around. In borrowing the story, they also borrow the word, proving that much of the Quran comes from other sources, comes from other languages, comes from other traditions, and comes from other authors. Oof, that's quite a mouthful. So this book turns out not to be such an Arabic book for the Arabic people. It may be for the Arabic people in the Arabic language today, but it's certainly borrowed an awful lot from other traditions, borrowed an awful lot from other languages, borrowed an awful lot from other words. Well, here I am in front of this great pool with all the frogs, the froggy pool. Green on top, boy, the frogs love it, and you can see, in fact, I can see 2 of them right over there. I don't know if you can see them over here, but they're right over there. They're 2 frogs. They're looking at me, still looking at me. I hope they enjoyed as much as I enjoyed it being here. This is a great place. But I got to go. A lot more to do, a lot more to talk about. Here I am with my flowery Togo shirt given to me by friends in Togo on this beautiful green background. Up, can you hear him? There, that's the frog. Oh, he's saying, no, don't go, stay. 2 of them now. They're talking to each other. Oh, it's great fun, isn't it, being here in nature? Yeah, even the kind of things we have to talk about, it's still good to have this kind. Let's see how more I can get going. Are you getting that? Are you hearing it? I don't know if there's someone who is cutting something over there so you can hear that. Oh, that's fun. They just wanted to encourage me, to keep me going, and they just wanted to say how much they enjoyed this time together. I do really need to go, though. God bless you. It's been great having this time with you. This is Jay, here in Central Pennsylvania. Over and out.